Laurel Park, and thank you for joining us here on this Friday afternoon on Today at the Races. I'm Gabby Gaudette, joined by Keith Fustel, and we are setting up for a very fun weekend. We've got DeFrancis Dash tomorrow, the Fall Festival of Racing, and boy, what a card it is. You and I were talking when right after you finished the morning line. How was your brain? Was it just...
It's fried, and it was fried. Then I had to go to Sunday's card.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been like this daily around here at Laurel Park for quite a while now, and it just gets tougher and tougher and tougher. You know, I was calling around for help. You know, I was raising the white flag on some of these races, trying to line up. So take it easy on me on the air and everybody out there, as they were some really, really tough races to trudge through, but a really good betting card. Good, solid, competitive races. Racing Office did a nice job. Really good assemblage of races on Saturday.
We've got horses coming from the Midwest, Kentucky, New York, Florida, Mid-Atlantic, everywhere in between. We've got, I think, 3 14-horse fields, 5 12-horse fields. The rest of them, I think, are 9 or 11 horse fields. So I know our feature race is going to be spectacular. Have some big heavy hitters in for the weekend, but we have an excellent card on tap for today. We're just going to get straight into our featured wagers and our carryovers. We do start things off in today's first race with that rolling Super High 5. We have a carryover in the Super High 5 that continues on throughout the afternoon with 7 or more betting interests. That carryover is $851 and change. The Rainbow 6, we have a nice $14,000 carryover in that. That takes place in race 4 on this 9-race program. And it's a tough sequence. I couldn't find a single in the sequence, and you know, hopefully best of luck to all of those who are playing, but we could see it maybe carry on to tomorrow's card too. So a tough card today to kick things off. We'll take a look at our track and weather conditions. We are on the turf, fast and firm, and a beautiful afternoon. We're probably going to get into the low to mid 60s. It's going to be sunny, and we really have to cherish these next 2 days because it's going to get quite chilly on Sunday.
Now, a little change of the weather on Sunday, right? Dropping into the 40s, I think, maybe for the highs with some wind, picking up possible flurries. So enjoy these next 2 days. Absolutely. Get out here to Laurel Park. Get yourself out on the apron. Enjoy some great thoroughbred racing, a couple cocktails, some good wagers. I hope you go out of here with a big smile on your face.
Some brew and bourbon.
Yes.
That's the day tomorrow. We have the brew and bourbon fest going on tomorrow, so come out and join us there if you like bourbon, if you like horse racing, if you like beer. Well, it's all
it's
here.
It's a trifecta. There
it's
you go.
It's all here. We'll get straight into today, though, Keith, and we'll start things off here with race 1. We're going a mile onto the turf course for the starter optional claiming event. Of course, this does kick off that rolling Super High 5, $851 and change in that carryover. Also kicks off the early pick 5, and I have a ticket. It's not cheap, $72 there. But I really found it difficult to find a single. I'm interested to see your take on the early pick 4 that you will be showing in race 2. But I'll use 4 horses in the first leg. Interesting to see we have a 4 to 5 favorite right now. I know it's early money, but I didn't think that this race should warrant any kind of short price favorite. The second race using 3 horses, 3-7-8 with the 8-7, 3-6-7, and 4-6-2 capped the early pick 5 off $72. We'll start things off though with the opener, and I thought maybe a couple different ways to go. I'm kind of discouraged to see my top selection opening up at 4 to 5 because I don't think she's worthy of that whatsoever. I know she is dropping in class. We haven't seen her in for a tag for a long time, if ever. And she is coming out of restricted stakes company, but she really wasn't a factor in either of those two.
She wasn't. She's definitely faced better. She gets class relief in here, but she's 1 for 28, and she's too short of a price for Trombetta to win with. You know, he doesn't win it 4 to 5.
He won 17 to 1, 50 to 1, something like that.
We had a stat on Tromby. What was he recently? I think over the last 30 days. He's hitting about 27% on the turf. His ROI is over $8. Median payoff $33.
Yeah, that's about right.
Is he going to have a 4 to 5 shot win? I don't know.
He has kicked me out of the pick 6 twice.
Yeah. So this horse fits, but as you say, I'm going to go elsewhere. I know when I look back at the line, I probably had this horse line too high at 3. People were going to get sucked in on the class drop. So, 5 to 2, 2 to 1 could be right. I go to the outside with Gracie's Way. Gabby, I didn't think this horse really ran that bad last time. She was caught wide into a lone speed type, and that horse, She's Dynamite for Charlie Hadger Jr., has come back and run really strong. So I think she keys up against the right horses. I think she can drop in a little bit. She needs to save a little bit more ground than last time. There's pretty good internals that she was chasing. She kept trying to the wire. I think she can pop here at a decent price.
I think she might have to be used a little early because that is why, by virtue of her running style, that's why she gets caught so wide, because she's kind of that in-betweener. But hopefully she can clear from the outside, or not clear, but at least get into a nice stalking position. I don't think she's faster than some of the horses to her inside.
Yeah.
But Gracie's Way, I really liked her last time out at a big price. So I will be using her once again today. I use her in the exacta because she even has back races to work off of. I mean, she was very competitive against Unfazed and Maiden Special Weight Company going 2 turns on the turf. So I do like her. Keith, it looks like you threw in the 8 Borealis Beauty for Mac Robertson.
Yeah, just off of breeding, and I think this horse will sit the right kind of trip. This distance, a mile, just might be right. Making little middle moves at 6 furlongs, continuing on. Okay, by Street Boss has a half brother that was 1 for 2 riding on the rest, but did run a good buyer of 85. So thinking this horse might step up and move to the surface today.
And if you use the Mike Trombetta even money favorite, well, you might as well use the other one. You know what they say, when a trainer runs 2, go with the longer price, and that is the 2 Gem at 8-1 on the morning line. Double-digit odds right now for Mike Trombetta. Gets in with a lightweight with apprentice Jomar Torres, too. And I don't think she's completely... you have to use her. The last time that she was in for a tag, she won. That was against Maiden Claiming Company. But I'm going to use both of the Trombetta horses protectively.
I am young rider Jomar Torres in his 7-pound bug rider. Got a win the other day. Looking okay. Got some promise. Yeah, higher price. Drops inside. Had a brutally wide trip last time. Ended that lone speed. So yeah, I'm going to give her one more chance.
Okay, let's get to the second race on the card. This does kick off the early pick for this maiden $16,000 event. 6 furlongs onto the 5.5 furlongs on the main track. And Keith, you took a take for the early
took a
pick
shot
four.
on the early pick 4. We've had some luck with the bet. I like the bet. I think we can narrow it down early in the first 2 legs. I go 4-7 with 8-11. Gets a little bit hairy there in races 4 and 5. The 5th race I thought was wide open. I had to stretch out. 4th race, yeah, just a competitive field. I'm going, with the obvious horses, 3, 5, 6, or 7, but I really can't split them in that situation. $40 is manageable. I think we're going to try to get this price home in the first leg, though, with the 4-horse Lights On for trainer Thomas Iannetta, a trainer that I always struggle to
catch.
I always seem to miss him, but I think we might get him today with this 2-year-old gelding who adds the blinkers and has Forest Boys above. I think this horse is the speed of the speed. Last time out, had a little bit of trouble leaving the gate, showed some good speed up to get to contention, was in a little bit of trouble into the far turn. This horse could have thrown in the towel, but he didn't. He kept on trying to the wire. I think if he breaks sharp with these blinkers, let's go ahead and send him for us and go wire to wire.
Yeah, talking about trainers who are kind of tough to be on the right side of, Tom Iannatti is definitely one of them, and Mike Trombetta. But though that's the reason when you're on the right side of them, you get paid, because a lot of the times their horses just go kind of in and out of form. And this horse, you get to these lower level maiden claimers or even mid-level maiden claimers, and you like horses that might have fewer starts than more. So equipment adjustment on the 4 Lights On with the blinkers on. I'll go to the outside, the 7 Haircut Bill, and Jose Corrales is just always strong with these types of angles for whatever reason. He leaves town, goes to Charlestown, he comes back. I like the fact that this horse has a good bottom underneath of him today, cutting back. 7 furlongs, 2 turns at Charlestown. Now he cuts back to sprint distances where he was recently second. And again, he's a horse that has a little bit of positional speed, so he's the direction I'll go in.
I think he's going to take the stalking position just outside of Lights On. I'm hoping Lights On can carry him to 5.5. Interesting little stat here for Iannatti. Lifetime maiden second out. He's like 30 with the 2-year-olds, 38%.
That's good.
He's pretty strong over the last 5 years. He's still holding true at 25%. 7 of 12 of those have been in the money. So I like the stat there. Might get a little bit lower than 12. I believe Haircut Bill, though, probably going to be the ones to beat Kraken Glacken. Shorter price, tried New York, couldn't get it done. Has to come from a little further back. We'll see if he can get the job done today. I like the price shot in here, though.
I liked the 8 Dear Old Dad a little bit for Robbie Bales. Trevor McCarthy in the saddle, listed as a first-time gelding, gets second-time Lasix today. And I know he was well beaten last time out against a similar company, but that race came up pretty tough. We saw Liar's Dice, the winner. He was a first-time starter for Sagamore. He came back to step up and finish second in an open $25,000 claimer, getting a 50 buyer speed figure. So some of the horses that ran in front of him, they've gone on to do better things, and I just think he meets a much more manageable field for the level.
No doubt they want to get a return on that investment. Claim for 25, not that great for 16, right? The gelding option there, and we're going to hope that can kind of step up to your old dad.
Okay, we get to the third race on the card, heading out to the turf 5.5 furlongs. Don, winners of 3 lifetime in for the $10,000 tag. And it looks like you and I are in the same boat here on the number 8, Boone Companion. I just like the fact that this horse held form first off the claim for Bobby Leaf, and also has back turf sprint races when he was unencumbered. That would probably warrant a nice performance in here. I also like the fact that they didn't step him up. They just found this perfect condition for him to go back to the turf.
Yep, he's a 4-time winner against some horses that are trying to get their 3rd lifetime win. He knows how to win. It's a real kind of a sketchy field. Q, you don't know which one's going to show up of him. I mean, he's shown some big races on the turf. Then he's been recent form. He's just tailed off. Mr. Magician, a big win. Where's he been? He hasn't been out, but he's going to get the right flow, Mr. Magician. But I think the consistency of Boone Companion right now, you're right. Kept him right at the level spot here, holds back at 10. I think can stalk from about 4 or 5 off of and get it done. I mean, he's so versatile. Turf or dirt, he's not much difference in his figures and his running style.
And he's in very good form. And we also have a horse like the 4 Leo Reg, who is sitting on a 2nd place finish last time out. But sometimes I know he'll probably get decently bet because he's technically dropping in from that starter allowance optional claiming condition, but he's been exposed against similar company in the past and he's been defeated.
He has. I was shocked that he was able to get up and beat us out of a nice exacta on October the 14th. You know, he got an okay trip after steadying, was able to save ground and then tip out. He usually doesn't sustain at 5.5. I'm tossing him in here as a little bit shorter price. I'll take the 5, Rock Me Again. They've kind of taken turns down in Florida against each other. Rock Me Again, though, just the trainer jock stat, a huge percentage with that combo right now.
Okay, that's races 1 through 3. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the Rainbow 6, a nice carryover over $14,000 right after this.
When it comes to getting back in the game, there's only one team to turn to. The team more high school, collegiate, and professional athletes train and recover with. That team is MedStar Sports Medicine. For more than 30 years, MedStar has served as a leader in the diagnosis, treatment, and rehabilitation of orthopedic and sports-related injuries. Ranked among the top programs in the Maryland and Washington regions, we offer rapid access to athletes of all levels. Let the pros who treat the pros treat you. MedStar Sports Medicine.
Welcome back to Today at the Races, presented by Fidelity First, our friends at Fidelity First. Now we get into race 4, and this does kick off the Rainbow 6 on this 9-race program, and carry over just shy of $15,000 in that 20-cent base wager. I have a ticket. If we could show that ticket, I know my co-host in the afternoon, Stan Salter, did come up with the ticket as well, but again, in the sequence, I thought it was very difficult to find a single. So that's where you can have an affordable ticket. I couldn't find one. So by all means, if you have more confidence in one leg, go for it. I think the last race is an absolute crapshoot. So that's especially the race that you have to spread in. I'll be using just 4 horses, using 3 horses protectively in the first leg and dwindling it down in races 5 and 6 with just 2. Again, I thought race 5 was wide open, but I kind of have an opinion in that race, so that's where I can try to consolidate the ticket. So we get to the 4th, though, an open $15,000 claimer, 6 furlongs onto the main track. And we do have the likes of the 3 Cursive in here, and I'm going to stick with her once again today because, you know, I know they dabbled with her, stretching her out on the dirt, sprinting her on the turf, going this and there, but she meets the right company today, and when she's on, she's on. I mean, you go back to her 2 Other Than performance, I have no idea where that came from.
Exactly.
It was phenomenal. Yeah. And then she just kind of tailed off, and she hit a bit of a lull once she finally, they dropped her in for that $25,000 tag. It's the right level for her, so I have a little bit of confidence in her.
Yeah, I couldn't split 3 or 4 horses in here. I think Cursive, Chili Start, A and Out, they face the better types. They're 2 Other Than types of fillies and mares. Cursive, though, Carrasco, 2 for 2 recently on the dirt with this filly. That kind of just put me over the top. He gets along with her well. He'll get an okay flow. A and Out, Chili Start, Little Miss Lupe, and Anime Our Queen. They're pretty similar pace styles. I think she'll just sit and measure those horses and just try to wear them down late. I think this is going to be a really, really tight finish.
And you have to respect the other outside horses too, though. I mean, we're looking for a bit of a price, some value in here, but Chili Start, this is the typical move for Kieran McGee. They claimed her earlier this year, for that $15,000 tag. They stepped her up. They made a lot of money with her. She tailed off last time out. So this is the move that they're always successful with. This is kind of like the get-out race.
Yeah, she's really got some good horses, too, up at Delaware. Tough Weather's won a lot of races. Little Cyclone's in really, really good form. Yeah, I don't think she's as quick as A and Out. I think A and Out from the outside will probably go ahead and try to take the initiative and go to the front. But Chili Start into those fractions, she can make that quick middle move and gain quickly to the horses as they turn for home. Anna Meyer Queen will be in the mix, as will Little Miss Lupe. It's an interesting type of race. Just take a little shot with a better price on top. But a Chili Start is the one to beat.
Yeah, and A and Out obviously does have that tactical advantage too, given the amount of speed she has and the lack thereof kind of inside of her. So we'll move on to the 5th race. This does kick off the 50-cent late pick 5. Again, not a mandatory payout like the early pick 5. The late pick 5 does carry over if not hit. We get to the 5th, those 6 furlongs for this maiden special weight event, and wanted to go back and just take a look at the 6 Fudge Proud and his last performance. Again, for trainer Mac Robertson, this horse did run a decent performance at Delaware. He was actually well beaten, came back to show a little bit more early footing on that good sealed track. And I thought it was a solid performance considering he did a lot of the dirty work. Good Luck Jonathan, a horse who kind of sucked up for 3rd, I thought, was the beneficiary of this duel, whereas I thought a much stronger performance from Fudge Proud.
No, he's definitely going to be forward in here a long, long way. Like I should say, how First Notion kind of recovers. He was bet down, hammered down, almost 8-5 in that race. Didn't fire at all. Baybill had speed to the outside a first time gelding. It's a tricky little race here. Hennessy Fire, he ran big here in his debut last year against Showalter, and Lasix finally went on. He got in trouble. They dropped him in for a tag. I'm going to give him one more shot. I went back and watched that video. He encountered, that was a tough trip he had at Parks, leaving the gate and around the turn. He showed good heart late. I think he'll step up second time. Lasix, but Stalk is going to be my top selection. The 2, a first-time starter for trainer Phil Schoenthal for Dark Hollow Farm. This is one of the horses they have not sold. Interesting. They kept this son of Safe Journey by Arch. The mother was 3 for 12 sprinting, but I like Schoenthal. He's got a positive ROI with these 2-year-old maiden special weights. This horse is a half to Dionysus, who won first out, and some other really nice horses. I think Stalk's going to be ready. Catches a field that I think is just going to suit him just right for his debut.
Yeah, as you said, he's a brother to Dionysus, who recently won a stakes race up at Parks. So that horse is precocious. He's been in very good form, and if his half-brother can do anything like that, he should be pretty contentious. And Phil Schoenthal, he does well with maidens, too. I mean, sometimes you look at the first start stat, not too high, but it is a nice ROI, and he often has a lot of speed in them, and I think this is what this horse will have to have from the inside. But I go back to Hennessy Fire. I like this horse. I know he dropped in for the tag last time out. I think he can build upon it. He doesn't look like a horse that has a tremendous closing kick. And with that early trouble, with all of his traffic issues, he kind of just loped along down the stretch. Whereas if he's a little bit more forwardly placed, I think that's going to be where he wants to be. The only negative thing, Freddie Velasquez, second off a layoff with his maidens. He's 0 for 8, so that was a stat that made me want to use maybe Fudge Proud protectively.
Okay, no doubt. I do like, though, that, I mean, he steps his horse back up a little, protect move. The jockey must say, hey, give this horse another chance. Felt all right underneath him. And like I say, last year he felt Showalter, Charm Victory came back. He's run against the right types when you compare and look at the rest of this field.
All right, let's move right along to the 6th on the card, a maiden special weight going the flat mile onto the turf. And we have a video spotlight of the number 4, Follow No One. And this was the first time this 2-year-old filly by Uncle Mo out of that Empire Maker mare, Miss Red Delicious. They stretched her out immediately and took her to the turf going 2 turns, and I like the fact that she showed some early footing. She was beaten by a Tom Proctor runner in Compelled. She went on to win a restricted stake down at Gulfstream Park West by 6 lengths, getting an 84 Beyer speed figure. So I think that race, that maiden special weight, came up pretty tough, and she probably holds the class advantage here.
And you see that video. She wasn't giving up really at all, just
relentless.
A little bit grudgingly late. The internal fractions, although they don't look that fast, 49-3, comparatively, they ran on the same week that day, October 14th. These other horses ran on the 16th. You can compare the Silver Slivers and emphatically 25, 50, and 4. She's 24-2, 49-3. she may not necessarily need to lead by looking at how game
No.
she was on there, but I like the way she held in there. Clearly ran faster on a similar turf course. The road very well could go through her as they turn for home. I'll take a shot with the 8, though, another firster for Graham Motion. He's been doing well of late with the first. This horse is 5 each way, a half to a really, really good horse called Miss Temple City, who was 2 for 2 at 2. Some other folks half to Eddie Set Go. The family is there, kind of a new sire and Bullet Train. But I just look back. I got a couple 2-year-olds that have won on the grass here of late, right out of the box. I think class and everything here. This horse is going to be right. The Lasix is on. Let's take a shot with the 8, 5 each way.
Okay, I'm taking a shot against. I do kind of like the outside horse La Parisienne for Arnaud Delacour. This filly, she's bred to probably like a little bit more distance than 5.5 furlongs. She is by Harlan's Holiday, but she has the Carson City on the bottom side. She's a half to a horse by the name of Sweet Cat, who was a turf sprinter. She was, I think, placed in the Smart and Fancy, but she also, I believe, might have been second in the Jessamine. So she had some distance turf pedigree or performances as well, and she was squeezed out of position immediately coming out of the gate. I look for her to have some outside speed.
Yeah, she's going to be up there stalking, I think. I don't know if they'll dead send her to the front.
No, but she's going to be closer.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And just my question is from that outside post, can she draft in enough where she can kind of follow through the last maybe quarter of a mile? Because, I don't think the 4 is going to give in readily at all. The one emphatically is an interesting type of horse, too. 2-year-old filly by Scat Daddy for Proctor. Picks up Furigal Lynch today. Castrenzi actually had a tough time controlling this horse last time out. She was a little bit rank, had to steady, was really tough to rate. But boy, once she got out late outside of some traffic, she kicked on nicely. I think she can definitely move up on her third start here in the second start, stretching out on the turf.
And we have a first-time starter, another first-time starter in the 3, Raining Lemons by Lemon Drop Kid out of that Hennessy mare. And the mare was a Grade 3 winner going long on the turf. This horse is actually kin to a Grade 3 winner over hurdles. So you get the Lemon Drop Kid pedigree, you get hurdle and steeplechase pedigree on the bottom side. This horse is supposed to run all day. So the concern is the mile a little bit too short? Is this kind of like, a give me one and then stretching out to maybe a mile and a 16th, a mile and an 8th, maybe later on. But some nice pedigree there. A really, really strong maiden special weights with some beautiful pedigrees as well.
And Mike Trombetta will slip in at 30
yeah,
to 1 and win.
Probably. In hindsight, I know hindsight is 2020, but Stan and I were looking at that horse that won at a big price last weekend in the paddock, and we were like, wow, he looks fantastic. Sure enough. No turf pedigree, and sure enough, wins at like 30 to 1. But anyway, that was last weekend. We get to the 7th race on the card, a mile and a 16th on the turf for this allowance field. And this is another race that I had a tough time with because I don't think a lot separates them. This is a race that I spread in. You gave the slight advantage to the Tom Proctor trainee.
Yeah, going back to Proctor here, this filly ran really well first time out for Proctor at the Meadowlands. And I'm not saying some of those Meadowlands, I don't want to rail them a little bit. The turf races have been super strong. You had a lot of horses dropping up there on that really short meet on the grass. But she faced some good horses. That was a tough optional 16. Beeves Ruler's a horse that was only beaten 2 necks and 2 other than company at Laurel. I think the 4th place finisher came back to win an Open 25 in New York. I like to step up in performance there. Should get good position here. Not a lot of speed. She'll be forward, and I think she just outdoes them late. Second time here for Proctor.
Hey, even the winner, Enchantress, I think, was significantly dropping in class. I mean, she had some back races to her name, too. Royal Source is another one, too, where I don't know what to make of her because what is her running style? What is her preferred running style? Does she want to maybe get aggressive and go to the lead, maybe inspire some confidence? She's a tough one to really like, and that's why I do give her the advantage, but I'm using, I think, maybe 3 or 4 horses in the
big
six.
This could definitely be a spread race. Talk Less, Smile More, I definitely could have lined a little bit too high at 10. The Buyer 67 was great. Lake Turkana, her beater 2 back, really didn't fare well in that race against your top selection, Royal Source. But I like the way she was real keen last time. She was eager. She's down inside. Not a lot of speed. A little bit improvement here for Kelly Rubley since the short layoff from July to September. I like the positional speed for the 1, Talk Less, Smile More.
Yeah, I agree. I think the game plan would probably just be to send. We obviously saw Seeing and Believing go to the lead, very slow fractions last time. I don't think she's going to be in that position. Maybe Fool's Magic could be forward, just as a sprinter stretching out to 2 turns. Just seems like a logical type type of horse. But Royal Source, maybe she can get that stalking trip from the outside. A very tough race, but speaking of competitive races, our feature race of the day, this is a nice one. We get to this allowance optional claimer, 6 furlongs on the main track, and we have some very nice old class horses like Service for 10 and like Majestic Hussar, who you have a video spotlight, had some trouble in the far turn last time.
Let's go to the Wayback Machine. Now, I think I've got this from the Fire Plug.
Sorry.
January, that's all right. Against, that was the Sunny Inspired race. We're going to pick it up here. Broke inward a little bit, had to steady, but Majestic Hussar, he's got good enough tactical speed. When he's right, he's really, really tough. So he's coming off a second off of a layoff here today. But I think you're looking at this race where he had to encounter some trouble going to the half-mile pole behind the speed. Jake and Elwood, he's got to steady along. He wanted to get through that seam, couldn't do it. And we're going to fire it up. We'll take it as soon as he gets around the turn. He's able to rate and relax. And these are good horses, Jake and Elwood, Beach Hut, and Fire Flood. I just think today, Gabby, he's got a little bit of class relief. You see here, he's not a tough horse to handle. He relaxes nicely, can handle traffic, but he was just severely unlucky in the Fire Plug Stakes. We're going to catch it here at the top of the stretch. This is where all the fun action's going to happen, unfortunately, for Majestic Hussar. Jake and Elwood just kind of all scrubbing on him, and he just doesn't have a seam. He wants to get through there.
He even kind of hits the inside rail.
It looks like he brushed the inside rail, gives ground to horses who had the clear run to the outside and Sunny Inspired, but he comes back gamely here to run second. This is a tough old horse, a cool old horse. I've got to give him a slight edge. I got to pick him, and we're going to try to go ahead. X-Man, you get off the schneid today. Let's get that first win. Sit outside, stalking pounds.
And that, I mean, this is a horse, he's well posted to the outside given his running style. Hopefully he can avoid some trouble trips. But, you know, I think a theme that has been going on recently with either jockeys or trainers, sometimes they hit a cold streak, but when they pop, they continue on. Kind of Jamie Ness started off the meet on a cold streak. He's livened up a little bit. So best of luck to the X-Men, hopefully getting into the winner's circle today. I go in a different direction in another old class horse in the 6, Service for 10, because I think there's going to be enough speed for him. I mean, you look at horses like Big Louis D to the inside. He's probably going to send from the inside. Majestic Hussar has some early speed. Bobcat has speed. Tail of Dubai is probably going to keep the pace on it. So he's a horse that he really does go in and out of form, but he should be able to get the right pace today.
He ran a couple races, bang-up races back-to-back. He's been kind of, carefully handled along the way. He is going to get the right kind of flow. He'll sit. I got to see he's going to be 8 or 10 out of it, maybe midway on the turn.
For sure.
And then just try to fire home from there. But his best certainly can get it done. Demon Buster's a horse I'm going to try to throw in the mix as well. He's faced definitely tougher horses the last two, some good sprinters. Mountaineer Charleston, he verts back to where he runs his best races. He fits perfectly in this spot. I think if he's in position 2 or 3 out of it mid-turn, he's going to be awfully dangerous. I don't want to see him too much further back than that.
And tactically, the one Big Louis D is a horse I threw into the exacta, but he might be up against it from just, a speed perspective. If he can clear, by all means, he could probably take the field a long way, but will he? Will he get some outside pressure? I thought it was a good race last time out. I almost wonder, though, if it was inflated a bit by the winter bandwidth.
Agreed.
He took back-to-back. He got a 91 and a 99 in both of his consecutive wins. But the 4th place finisher came back to win next out, getting an 86. So it still was kind of a strong race, but again, I don't know how much pressure he can take.
He better pop the latches and get out there quick, because there's definitely some legitimate speed to his outside. And, shortening up that extra 16, sometimes that's not an advantage. These horses, maybe 7 furlongs would be a better distance
exactly, because they can create some separation.
Yeah, a little separation, get that little bit of a breather. He's going to have to break sharp if he's going to be able to get this done.
All right, and that is the feature race of the day. Running out of time, so we'll get to the 9th and final 5.5 furlongs onto the turf for this maiden $40,000 race. And boy, what a head scratcher this is. We have a scratch of the 2 outside horses, the 13 Phase the Nation and the 14 Class Influence. I was going to try to take a shot with Class Influence. We have to wait for another day. But Perfect Party Girl scratches off the AE. Christmas Dinner comes in off the AE. So I think Christmas Dinner is definitely a must-use. I mean, this horse is dropping in from maiden special weight last time out, and got to go where the barns are hot, and Mary Epler's barn is hot.
No doubt about it. Gets in, gets a little bit of luck here. Draws into this field. Has them kind of an edge buyer-wise, and that was a better field than what she's going to face. I think she'll be a lot closer as they turn for home. Some price horses you may want to look at. Maybe the 12 O'Doyle Rules, kind of got a first time for Cal Lynch. Off of a break, tried the synthetic once up at Presque Isle. Didn't run at all, but the blinkers go on, the barn change. Capable. This horse is a half to Uno, a mile horse that when it was transferred to the turf really kind of turned it on and blew
Won
up
a
the,
restricted
blew up the
stake at
toe for it,
Saratoga.
in New York. So yeah, that's my flyer shot in the 12 horse.
Okay, and the 2 Sullivans, Gigi
Yeah,
is a horse you throw in. I use this horse in the pick 6 because
Okay.
Mac Robertson, looking at some statistics with his first-time starters in turf sprints, he's 2 for 9, so it's a very low sample size, and he's 4 for 9 in the money. But they've popped at decent prices, and overall, Mac Robertson, he's just a in and out good trainer. He holds about 23%, 20% on the year.
Wherever he goes. Yeah.
So in this type of race, if you want to protect yourself with some first-time starters, I would definitely use him.
No doubt. Out of a mare, Letty Rizzi, and I jogged my memory a little bit. I was right. Linda Rice. This mare was 7 for 37, sprinting on the turf, made over 300,000.
Yeah, so
the
nice
turf
pedigree
breeding
to
is
go.
there. Yep.
All right, that is enough for us. That's races 1 through 9. Thank you for joining us here on Today at the Races, presented by Fidelity. First, we're going to take a quick break, and Dave Rodman will be up shortly with those scratches and changes.
Good luck.